The AP poll is out, and it's just basically like we expected. Their Heisman talk is on the rise. We've got prop bets to look at. We've got NFL discussion. We've got it all, and we're just excited to be here right in the midst of it. Another episode of In-Laws and Out of Bounds. Full football takes rolling on. Emilio, what's going on over there?
I am jacked up. We got rankings out. We got preseason underway. I got a lot to feel good about. I wanted to give a quick shout out to White Chocolate and Bear Claw over at the Neg Pod because they said they wanted to hear my voice more, and I appreciate that from them.
I think old Fox over there is going to be real happy that he heard you more. Or Ox, I mean, no, sorry. Fox. I think they will be happy to hear, and our growing friendship as well. Yes. To our friends at the Neg Pod, they will be happy for us. So, recording a show tonight themselves, but here we are. Like we said, AP Top 25. We're excited. We've been waiting for this moment. And guys, if you've listened to the preview show, our Top 25 really didn't differ from what the voters put on here. But there is some interesting things as we look at this. There are some very interesting things that we want to dive into and talk about before we just completely let off the college football topics. I want to pick Heisman winners today because I can't remember if we did it honestly or not. But I think we need to put our stake on who's going to win the Heisman. And we have to put some true logic behind it because there are some slackers that are starting to listen a little more, which it's okay. It's okay. We hope that you continue to join us here. We continue to hope that our YouTube channel continues to grow because we appreciate the effort for the growth and the listening and all that kind of stuff, right? But we've got NFL football as well. And I'm super excited because Jerry's out there doing Jerry things. He's ready. He's going in. He ain't gonna stop. You got Max Crosby liking posts out there, things that is going on in Jerry world. Okay. We are ready to roll. But before we do it, we want to make sure that we shout out our sponsor. Check it out, Brewster Bird Hunts. Yes, you know them. We love them. The number one source for birds in all of South Texas. All of Texas, not just South Texas. They got the best guides, the best birds, the best dogs. I say it different every time, but it doesn't matter because all three are true. The whole statement's true. Brewster Bird Hunts is your number one source for dove, upland bird, anything that you want to get on, they can get you on it pretty much. But dove season is right around the corner. September 1st. We're 2 weeks away just about. They're probably booked up all the way, but you might as well reach out to the folks in Landon over there. Check them out, Facebook, Instagram, www.brewsterbirdhunts.com. And we haven't gotten the official word on the other one yet. Waiting for some payment here before we completely get on there because they've got some segments keyed up for in the game or for in season for our recap and pregame one for the preview. So both of them do some new segments. So anyways, am I missing anything, Emilio?
No.
Just plug us. Check us out on all our social media. Go follow us, subscribe, get on YouTube. If you're listening on Spotify, give us a follow, give us a 5-star, hopefully a 5-star. We'd greatly appreciate it. AP Top 25. What do you think, Emilio? What's the first thing that pops off to your head about this?
First thing that popped off the screen for me was Texas A&M, number 8. That's
deserving or undeserving?
My honest answer is I think it's a little undeserving, but I'm going to take it every day. It's exactly where we had them, I think.
It is. And there's multiple things that I think of. Obviously, the Aggies are consistently year in and year out ranked within the top 15. Here recently, they've been ranked within the top 10 due to recruitment, due to obviously last season going 11-2, losing a couple close games at the end of the year, and then coming around and having another good recruiting class. The transfers that were coming in, people still feel high on Texas A&M. The SEC biased, if you want to call that. I would have liked to see A&M. I know we had them here, but I would have liked to see them closer to 15, 16, somewhere in that area. Maybe even 18. Only
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I would like to see them earn it before we just go giving out
Well, for me,
deals.
it's not even that. Like, if you're at 16, the pressure isn't on from the get go. If you're in the top 10, there's pressure to stay there for the entirety of the season. I don't leave.
Yep. It's like our good friend Joe Tom Habe, good supporter of the pod. We appreciate it. He said being in the top 10 gives you unwanted pressure, and that's exactly right. It's just you have to live up to the expectation now of winning 11 games straight, losing your last game of the season to Texas, failing to get into the SEC championship for the second year in a row, and then losing your first game in the college football playoff. It's just right back to it. You're back expected to be a 10-plus win team at number 8 already. So,
Yeah.
and with the schedule that they got, that's not easy. I'll tell you the
No,
first thing that popped off to me on this schedule, not to get off the A&M banner here, but was having Indiana at number 6.
I knew that was going to be the thing that stuck out to you.
And I'm not necessarily, I don't know if I'm one of the people that thinks, okay, if just because you won the national championship last year, you should be number 1 this year. I think there's an argument for both sides of the ball there. But putting Cignetti and what he's gone and reloaded, if we're talking about recruits or the transfer portal or anything like that, and then turn around and putting them right back at number 6, a little disrespectful in my opinion, for sure.
I think the weird thing too about this is, they give you the number of first place votes for each team in the top 25. Indiana has 8 first place votes, which is more than 2 teams ahead of them, 3 teams ahead of them.
That shows you
so how does that work?
Well, that shows you how many AP voters had them way lower than number 6. So they had 8 votes at number 1. So it's an average. They take this and they average it out on the number of points that you have. So take for Ohio, out of all the points that they could have gotten, Ohio State was number 1 because they got they had 1,672 points in total of what they could get from the number of AP voters out there that gave them a point. Indiana had 1,440. So there was people out there voting Indiana way low.
I don't get that. I hear the argument about, they got to prove it again because it's a new year and you lost, your starting quarterback and you lost guys in your secondary and on your defense and the whole bit. I'm with it. But to that same point, that was a whole fresh round of recruits last year and they won the national championship. So you got a whole another fresh transfer class. Like, why would anybody think that they shouldn't be up higher than 6 in my mind?
Everybody lost guys. Ohio State lost 3 first-round draft picks on the defensive side of the ball. They're just going to go out and find an Arvell Reese and a Sonny Styles and a Caleb Downs just hanging out. Like, obviously, I'm not going to say that if it's impossible. I guess if anybody can do it, Ohio State's one of the select few that could do that, right? With the talent that they could potentially go out and get. But for that to be the argument, saying, hey, you lost so much talent, you're going to be further back. Now, if you look at it and say, okay, we're talking about replacing a starting quarterback versus replacing a linebacker, yes, I understand the difference there. Like even an edge rusher or a safety on the back end, I get it. But at the same time, they went out and got some proven guys, not only at quarterback, wide receiver. Their defensive line, offensive line is still very, very tough. In the trenches, they're solid. And then Kirk Cignetti himself, it's hard to doubt him. And a lot of that, I don't know how much a coach goes into what they put on paper and what they, rank points wise. I think it has to play some effect, but it's huge. One thing that sticks out to me on this AP poll, not a single SEC team received a first place vote. Not a single one of them. You had Ohio State that received 40. Oregon received 14. Notre Dame, who is 4, which Georgia's at 3. Notre Dame received 6 of them. Texas was 5. Indiana 6. They received 8 of them. Miami 7. They received 1, and then you got A&M at 8. Ole Miss at 9, Oklahoma at 10 to round out the top 10. That is pretty wild.
I think that goes back to what we've been talking about the last couple episodes, where the SEC bias is gone. You got more of a Big Ten bias now. People are becoming believers that the Big Ten is where all the magic is happening now. But it's still pretty crazy to me that Georgia, who, when I look at it on paper, and I think most people that have watched football would think, when you look at this Georgia team on paper, they should have at least gotten one first place vote.
At least one first place vote, yes.
100%. At least one.
100%. I find it interesting is we're talking about, I think you would find people still arguing the SEC biased. The SEC they still have the most teams in the top 25. If you break it down by conference, the SEC got 9 teams in, the Big Ten got 8, the Big 12 have 4, the ACC have 3, and then you have one independent, obviously in Notre Dame, who got there. Sun Belt, Mountain West, American, Conference USA, all the other group of 6 conferences don't have anyone in here, which is not shocking to say. If you go further down the list and you start looking at them, you don't see somebody pop up here until, if you were counting them, who got points. You've got, quote unquote, at 26, 27, 28, you've got Clemson, Florida, and Boise State. Then Boise State swaps up Arizona, TCU, Navy. So a lot of this is interesting too when you go further down the list and you start looking at these guys. Okay, how is it going to play into effect of what they see in the preseason, what they expect of these individuals, and these latter ones, playing into these games, and how is it going to affect them? Say a Navy playing Notre Dame and they lose to Notre Dame, or early on, if it's a 3 touchdown, how are they going to weigh Navy going and winning the American? But they're not undefeated necessarily, but a different group of 5 or 6 team is undefeated. How does that play out there at the same time?
Yeah.
So those guys, just because we've been focusing on the top 10, you also have to look at the back and how this affects it as well too. Pretty interesting. I think as you go deeper and you start looking at it, you've got the 8, you've got the 9. Even when you go to the 8 on the Big Ten side, if you just break it down by teams with the most opponents in the top AP 25, it doesn't do much favor for the Big Ten as well. The 3 teams with the top most AP top 25 teams on their schedule right now, you've got Kentucky, Arkansas, and Texas. Those 3 teams each have 7 teams that are currently in the AP top 25. You go down from that at 6. You do have Ohio State and Michigan. So those 2 Big Ten teams have it. But then you've got Oklahoma, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, and Texas A&M. So you have 7 SEC teams, 7 out of the 9 SEC teams that have 6 or more top 25 teams on their schedule, and only 2 Big Ten teams with that, right? And then you go down to 5, and this is where it evens out a little bit. In the Big Ten side, you got Northwestern, USC, Nebraska, Washington, and Minnesota and Purdue. So then you get 6 teams there that have top 25, have at least 5 teams on their schedule. Who's missing from that? Indiana.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oregon. You're missing some big hitters in there. Those 2, right?
Right.
Remember this when we go talk about the Heisman here in a second too, folks. Remember that. If you look at the other teams that are on here, Missouri, South Carolina, LSU, Auburn, and Florida, you're picking up another 5 SEC teams with at least 5 top 25 teams on there. So when we talk about depth and which conference has the bias of the 2, you've got a lot more teams that are going to be clashing that are higher matchups than what the Big Ten is going to be able to deliver, right?
Yeah.
So So I thought that was interesting. How many teams are exactly there? So
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I think that just adds more to the argument that the people of the South raise, which is they don't have anybody throughout their season that is of any competition to them. You have your very top heavy teams, and then you got two of them that are arguably at the very top that have cupcake seasons for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got these poor bottom feeders like Arkansas and Kentucky that are going through the ringer against. I mean, geez, Louise.
Yep.
But
Yep.
that's the argument, and it makes sense. It's not an SEC bias, but I mean, look at the level of competition. Just on, obviously, this is preseason, so it doesn't mean shit. But just at face value, the level of competition is distinctly different.
Yes, 1,000%. Because you have a lot of teams on here. If within looking at the AP poll and how far back that they're kept. So if you're looking, just say South Carolina, for instance, if you were saying, so that'd be 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So say they'd be the 32nd ranked team right now in the nation. You're probably over-under is probably 6.5, 7 games to win right now. So South Carolina easily could be a team that goes and wins 8, 9 games, or they could be a 5-7 team.
Yep.
Right. And that's just shows you, the difference they can go. I'll tell you another team on here, and we're talking about the SEC and how deep they are. And I 100% agree. I think we've talked about it multiple times that the SEC is a much deeper team than the top heavy Big Ten. But one that stuck out to me that got some votes here and got some points was the Oklahoma State Cowboys.
Oh, dear God. Here we go again.
They got 8 points on that board, baby. It wasn't much, but they got 8. Somebody's out there looking out for them.
Out of those bottom feeders that are hanging on right around the edge, who do you think benefits the most based on their schedule? Because there's two that stand out to me that like they benefit from where they are currently compared to some teams that are above them.
The bottom feeders, so you're looking bottom. I would say Houston right now probably is one of the teams that benefits from them. And I'll tell you this why, because I was looking at the biggest weeks in college football as well, and I was fixing to bring this up. If you look at the biggest weeks right now with the current selection of, where teams lie, I think Houston getting into the top 25, you've got a lot of people down there talking about Willie Fritz. You've got the Connor Wegman thing with him having another season there and being able to settle down. I think that sets them up really well to move up pretty quick. And I say this because week 3, when we're going to have all eyes fixed on, LSU and Ole Miss, which is going to be right now, that's a 9 versus 11 game right there. It's going to be huge. The day before, on the Friday, you're going to have Houston going to Lubbock to take on number 12 Texas Tech, right? The one reason I say that benefits them is because you'd rather play Texas Tech earlier in the season than later in the season, I think, while Tech's trying to figure out the Will Howard stuff and how they're going to get going and mesh everybody together. So I think Houston getting put in that 23 spot, if for some reason they were able to go into Lubbock and get an upset right there, I think that's going to propel them the rest of the season. I don't think they have a huge schedule ahead of that, is what I'm trying to get at there, to say that,
Right.
hey, Houston could go and really make some noise. And if they get put into that position, they don't play BYU at all this season. They play Utah that you're going to have. And outside of that, they don't have anybody else on the schedule really that you're looking at. So you get past that Tech game and you play Utah, and say you get all the way to the Big 12 championship and maybe you play Tech again still, that's a huge benefit for them at the bottom feeder status for me. So
yeah. I mean, could you imagine the Cougars going into Lubbock and pulling out the upset?
Well, it's probably the first time that most of the country is going to get to see Tech play, right? And it's definitely the first time that you're going to see Houston play. So it's going to be, and it's Friday. It's kind of a standalone game on Friday too, I believe. You got Miami, Florida State playing that night. I mean, Miami, Wake Forest playing that night. Excuse me, and then you got Oregon taking on Portland State. So,
Ooh, good one.
That's a big one. Yeah, that's a
Now, I think whenever I look at this, I'm going even further bottom, but I think the beneficiaries of their current rankings are teams like UNLV and New Mexico, because you've got Boise State, who has to play Oregon very early in the season. What is that, the first week or second week?
first week. Yep.
And then you have Navy, who's got to play Notre Dame within the first 2 weeks. So you can almost guarantee that they get the doors blown off them. So then if you're UNLV, that's an opportunity for you just to sneak up right there and have a chance at, just taking care of business within your conference, and your opportunity of getting into the playoff is already boosted tremendously within the first 3 weeks of the season.
And I kind of mentioned that earlier. It's like, what do you do if you are a Boise, on the committee, and you're looking at a Boise State team that had the guts to put Oregon on the schedule at the beginning of it? Do you punish them by playing that first game of the season and then give it to a, dare I say, inferior group in the group of six? Like, what does that really look like if you're, because you're also going to bring this into Texas State is going to have this issue playing Texas. You got UTSA that's playing Texas. You talked about Navy playing Notre Dame. There's a lot that has to go into that. Is, okay, how much does truly a strength of schedule help you? And then being ranked so high in the preseason, they obviously think that Boise State is going to fare better than what a UNLV is going to, or any of that. So yeah,
it'll be interesting on how all that plays out, because when we revisit the end of last year, when they were actually picking the college football playoff teams, there was so much around like, we don't want to see these matchups anymore. We've already seen Boise State get the doors blown off them. We don't need to see it again. So is it going to be another? Are they going to adjust based on all the moaning and groaning they heard at the end of last year, or is it going to be, listen, they scheduled tough opponents, these other guys didn't. I don't know what to tell you. I don't care if they lost by 30 the first 2 weeks of the season. We're going to see it again here at the end of the year.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yep. Oh, so looking at early matchups here, if you look at it, we were talking about week 3. Those are going to be some big, you're going to have some big games already in week 3. I think week 3 is one of your more exciting weeks of the year. Kind of when you look at it, I heard somebody explain this the other day, like this is the way they made this schedule. You kind of think about it with a peanut butter sandwich, right? They took the bread, and instead of smoothing it out, across the middle and across the edges and everything like that, they took it and they left it in clumps. So the football schedule is kind of all over the place of what you're getting and what the quality you're getting. But if you look at week 3, we talked about Houston versus Texas Tech. More than likely, both those teams are going to go into the game undefeated, so you're going to have a top 25 matchup there. You got Georgia and Arkansas, which is going to be a good game. You've got LSU, Ole Miss. Obviously, that's going to be the biggest one. Lane Kiffin going back to his old team, all that. SMU and Louisville as well. That's going to be interesting. Louisville starts the season off with, oh my gosh, why am I drawing a blank here? I can tell you real quick. With Ole Miss. So if they're able to get something rolling there, and they do get Ole Miss, one of those teams is going to have a loss on their schedule as they go forward. Texas A&M and Kentucky, that's not a game to necessarily overlook there. Notre Dame, Michigan State, that's a good one. So, but if you really look at the true games after these top 25 teams come out, and you talk about a week that's littered with it, week 10 is the big one. You got Alabama, LSU, Georgia at Ole Miss. You've got Texas at Missouri, Miami, Notre Dame, Oregon at Ohio State, Penn State at Washington, BYU at Utah, Oklahoma at Florida, and then Texas A&M at South Carolina. So I do want to say, how do you feel about Penn State being number 18? Matt Campbell. Get it done?
It's, to me, that's kind of just the ranking that Penn State gets just for being Penn State.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Missouri at number 25. You can almost guarantee every year Missouri is going to be at number 25.
It's kind of Eli Drinkard, right?
It's like Tennessee being at 20. You can guarantee they're going to be anywhere from 12 to 25.
Yes.
To me, it doesn't mean anything. They might deserve that. I think it's going to be that's a huge transition from where they were to where they're going to be this year. They lost so many people. I don't see them holding that. That'd be cool, but I think it's just the honorary Penn State ranking for week 1, and then I'm going to say week 4, they're out of the top 25 completely.
I wouldn't be surprised. I don't even know who they play. I don't remember who they play in the first 4 weeks, but I wouldn't be surprised.
It wouldn't shock me.
Yeah. Well, let us know. We put this out earlier on social media. Let us know who you think is the most overrated, the most underrated. There was some uproar about Notre Dame being number 4 again. It's just going to happen, guys. They're going to continue to put Notre Dame at number 4 because they're a brand. They're going to win football games, and they potentially are going to go undefeated. We talked about this already. And that's all 3 of them. They're trying to predict exactly how it's going to go in the season, and Notre Dame is probably going to go undefeated through their play.
Of all years, I almost feel like this is the most justified ranking that Notre Dame's got whenever they've been ranked up this high. I think there's legitimate cause for them to be ranked at 4. I don't necessarily love it, but I really do believe they'll go undefeated, and I think they'll be a good football team. I'm not saying they're going to be one of the best 4 teams in the country, but I think they're going to be a very good football team.
Yeah. I do want to double down on my stance here, and I want to say that looking further about it and thinking about it, just letting it sit there and stew, Texas is not going to make the college football playoff. They won't.
Wow.
I feel like when I look back at it last year, yes, they got hot towards the end of the year and they were one of the hotter teams. But you think about the games that they won last year as well, having to go into overtime against Kentucky, barely walking out of Starkville against Mississippi State. There was a lot of games, almost letting Vanderbilt come back in Austin and take that game. There's just something that I feel like that is going to happen. And I don't know. I don't feel the Longhorns. I'll say that the Longhorns average 388 yards per game, 6 yards per play, and 137 rushing yards per game, which is their lowest mark since Steve Sarkisian became coach in 2021 last year. So this whole high-power offense and them running on all cylinders, the numbers say otherwise. So
that's a fair assessment. I think everybody's recoil to that would be that it came on late. You got to look at it as 2 different seasons, and I can hear every T-sip under the sun right now saying, if you watch the back half of that season, Arch started to really put it together. And they're not wrong. I mean, he did start to put it together. But to me, it goes back to, is the offensive line going to hold up for him for an entire season, which I think right now my answer is yes, but ask me again by October.
Arch Manning's a great football player. And I was having this conversation earlier. It's hard to dislike Arch because he comes from the Manning family. Like, I want him to do good. It's just, why do you have to pick Texas? Why? Go to Ole Miss. Go to Tennessee. Go do something else. But the fact that you had to pick Texas, that just kind of, I don't know. That just is what it is. I just want to say Ohio State's going to beat Texas again, I think.
Ooh.
Big on Oklahoma this year. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah.
Big on Oklahoma. They're going to have one of the best defenses in the nation. They're going to find a running game. John Mateer is going to be a difference maker. So there's 2 losses that I'm saying that Texas is going to have. For that I think that I can say. There's one more out there somewhere. Out there somewhere.
I could see them losing 2 games. I don't think it's necessarily the same 2 games that you're thinking. But I'm not going to say that you're completely wrong. That's certainly, that possibility does exist, and it's not a small one. But by the amount of hype that they got towards the end of legitimately, I think they were trying to find a way to get Texas into the playoff with 3 losses. So to me, if they don't hit 3 losses and they have 2 at the end of the year, they're getting in.
Yeah.
Whether we like it or not.
I don't know if I should let you predict any more Texas football after what you did the last episode. So, go on. Piss me off like
I'm
that.
manifesting what's not going to happen.
Oh, God.
Opposites.
Jeez. All right. Heisman's quick. So here's your favorites. You got CJ Carr about 750, Arch Manning about 800. Then you got Dante Moore around 1100, Julian Sayin around 1200, and then Darian Mensah about that same right there. Trinidad Chambliss. Who is your favorite, Emilio? And who would you put money on going into the season if you said, "Hey, here's $1,000. You're going to put it on them." Who and why? Go.
I'm going to, man, if I'm putting money on it and you just got to take it all into account, it's a quarterback award for sure. So everybody on that list is active. I'm going to say Dante Moore because Oregon is a big program that they're going to get primetime television multiple times throughout the season. And for the other reason that you mentioned earlier in the show, they have one of the weaker schedules of the Big Ten teams. So whenever they do have a big opponent, I mean, God bless him if he plays poorly, but for all intents and purposes and what we've seen before is, that's going to be every eye in America is going to be on Oregon those weeks that they play those big opponents. And then after that, it's just a numbers thing. And if you have weak competition, he's going to, throw for 3 to 4 touchdowns a game, 300 to 400 yards a game. His numbers are going to be far and away better than everybody else's in my mind. If I'm just looking at it from that standpoint.
Yep. If I was taking the odds into consideration, I would put it on Dante Moore as well. Same reasons. If you just look at the amount of times that he's going to be able to put up just crazy stats, Boise State, Oklahoma State, Portland State, UCLA, Nebraska, Illinois, Northwestern, Michigan State, there's multiple times there. And I'm going to get in trouble for how I said Illinois. I don't really care, people. It ain't Texas, so it don't matter. But you take those factors out and you can look at a few games, USC, Ohio State, Michigan, Washington. Outside of that Ohio State game, he's probably going to have some pretty decent numbers. Even if he loses one of them or whatever's different, he's going to have some good numbers outside of that. CJ Carr, on the other hand, he's an easy odds favorite because of their schedule as well, if you truly look at it. I know we went through it last time. You can sit down and look at who they're playing. They only have 3 teams in the top 25 AP, but Washington, Rice, Michigan State, Purdue, UNC, Stanford. I mean, you've got Navy on there. They always put up a bunch of points against Navy, Boston College, and Syracuse. There's just teams on there that are not good programs. Rice is not a good program. Michigan State's not a good program right now. Neither is Purdue. Stanford's probably getting better, but I don't know if they're there yet. Boston College has suffered and Syracuse has suffered. So there's multiple games there where they're going to potentially steamroll them. And even the games that they have that are against top 25s outside of Miami with BYU and SMU, we really, truly don't know what we're getting with those teams this year.
Right.
And both of those teams, at the end of the day, one is still a Big 12 defense and the other one's an ACC defense. So it's not like you're going up against just complete studs across the board, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah.
I think that's the thing that he's got working against him. I guess working for him is that you're not playing any competition, but also because Notre Dame's independent, who the hell is going to go purchase a Peacock subscription to go watch them beat the dog shit out of Navy?
Exactly. Yeah. Anyways. Well, there's my college football.
Hell yeah.
I think. There's my college football. AP top 25. Let us know where we missed, where we were right, where we were wrong. Who are you picking for Heisman?
How many days away are we from the first college football game now?
So the 27th is the first game, I think.
29th.
Is it 29th?
Yeah.
whatever that Friday is, or Thursday. Is it Thursday or Friday? They have the first game. So it's the 28th.
Saturday.
No, it's a Friday.
What?
Is it for Saturday?
I think it's Saturday.
Do some investigating reporting.
11 a.m. with the Tar Heels of North Carolina, who everybody's sleeping on.
Me included.
And the Horned Frogs.
And the Horned Frogs. I can't wait for that. That'll be a lot of fun. That'll be tough. Yeah, so USC plays that day too, so nice.
USC does play that day. Really, that's a very lackluster day after those morning rounds.
If we're just going to go ahead and take bets, USC is favored by 38.5 here, and the total on it's 60.5. Take the over. It says the money line is San Jose off. Take the over. Man, that's a big spread. I don't think I'd take the spread.
38.5? That's
huge. I would take the over, but don't take the spread. Yeah. That would be my guess there. We'll talk about it more. And you've got TCU that's favored by 7.5, and the over, or the total here, over under is 47.5. I would take the over there on that line too. I'd take the spread on TC. I don't know if I'd trust any Skykes like that. Yeah, that one's tough.
I'm not sleeping on the Tar Heels this year.
No,
you
really
are.
Tough.
You're sleeping on them heavy.
Yeah, I am. Yeah, I am. I think Bill's playing too much grab ass down there.
You can leave Bill alone, man. He's a bachelor.
Man, this Florida State, New Mexico State one's interesting. They got Florida State favored by 31.5, but they've only got the over-under at 53.5.
Oh, they got a close game happening on the CW of all places.
That's odd. Be favored by that much, but such low of a score. They just think that Florida State's going to put up 35 somewhere in there, 28 to 35, and New Mexico State's not going to score at all.
Yep.
Man, we got some good games to pick them there. Can't wait for the Sendero research. Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Maybe not. We'll see if they get that or not. But anyways. All right, let's talk some NFL. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun, 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 dun.
I need to get some media up in here, some better media to transition over. And then we can put some background noise, when we talk about do power rankings or whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I do have something fun that I want to do. I want, at some point during this segment, when we're talking about these previews, I want you to turn your hat around and I want you to play the win-loss game for the New Orleans Saints. And that's where I'd like to start the episode here on the NFL, is the NFC South, Emilio.
All right.
And I'd like you to give us the rundown and tell us, the NFC South, what can we expect this year from those folks down there?
What I'm taking away so far is the Panthers are definitely regressing this year. In my mind, they are not going to be a playoff team again. I think they go back to being who we thought they were. They're going to be some scrubs again. They'll be not at the very bottom, but they're going to be second from the bottom. I think Tampa Bay has an absolute shitstorm on the rise over there. They got players mad at the organization. Todd Bowles, I think this is probably his last year as the head coach over there, if I had to guess. I don't know that he makes it the whole season. So I think that is turmoil waiting to happen. You got Vita Vea asking for a trade. You got Baker publicly shaming the team for not paying him what he thinks he deserves. Now, obviously, that could go a totally different direction, because if Baker comes in and plays his ass off trying to prove something, that could be a problem for us. But then you have the Falcons, who have two left-handed quarterbacks, and that's all I need to say about the Falcons on where they're going to finish and what type of season they're going to have. God bless Bijan Robinson. Hopefully he gets traded out of there soon for anything. Because that is just, they tried to blame Kirk Cousins for all those years, and that's a damn shame, because they're going to be terrible again. And then you have the New Orleans Saints. And let me tell you, we scored, I know it's preseason football, but we scored 7 points in 22 seconds. We are on the up and up. We might be ahead of schedule. I've been saying 2028. But as of this moment right now, the New Orleans Saints are winning 9 games, and we're hosting a wild card game.
So you think they're not gonna miss Jordan Tyson having to miss out 2 games or 2 months?
That's gonna hurt, but we got Bryce Lance waiting in the wings, and I think he's going to be a stud. I think he's going to be the surprise pick that we had in our arsenal. I like everything that I'm seeing. Defensively is where my concerns are for this team, but I think our offense is going to be humming. I think what we're going to see is a very heavy dose of Kellen Moore's philosophy, which he brought over, I think, heavily influenced from his college career, and that's going to be to score a bunch of points and just pray to God that your defense can get a few stops.
Yep.
And I think that we got enough to do that. Again, I have us only winning 9 games, but I think it's going to be enough to win the NFC South, and we're going to host a wild card game, and what happens from there is beyond me. But I'm very, very optimistic compared to where I was last year. I'm very optimistic from where I thought I would be coming into this year. And I feel good about it. I feel really good about it. I don't love the way our schedule starts out because we got some tough ones. It's not as favorable as it was last year, but I think we're going to be all right.
Well, since we're doing it, let's just go ahead and play the win-loss game with your guys. How about that?
Let's do it.
Can we do it? Let's see here. Let's see if I can't get you. You ready for this, Emilio?
Yeah, let's go.
All right, Emilio, here we go. Week 1 against the Lions in Detroit. Who you got?
We got a loss.
You got a loss. Okay, 0-1. Week 2 at Baltimore.
We're going to win.
We're going to get a win, 1-1. Okay, let's do it. All right. Week 3 against the Raiders.
We get another win.
2-1 going into Atlanta to take on the Falcons.
We get another win.
That is a Monday Night Football. We're going to leave Monday Night Football 3-1, headed to Minnesota to take on the Vikings.
We'll lose that one.
Okay, so we're going to go 3-2, headed over to face Jackson Dart and the Giants in MetLife.
Ooh, that's going to be a close one, but we pulled that one out.
Okay, 4-2, headed into Pittsburgh.
We win that one.
Okay, 5-2, taking on the Browns in New Orleans.
We win that one.
Okay, 6-2, taking on the Panthers.
We lose that one.
Okay, all right, so 6-3. Then you're going to go to the Windy City, take on the Bears.
We lose that one too.
Okay, staying in the Midwest, 6-4, taking on the Bengals.
We win that one. We turn the season back around.
All right, 7-4. 7-4, headed to back home to take on the Packers.
We lose that one.
We lose that one. Okay, so 7-5, headed to the East Coast, taking on the Carolina Panthers.
We win that one.
We win that one. Okay, and then you're going to stay on the road, headed down to Tampa Bay.
We win that one.
Okay, so we're sitting at 9-5 now. 9-5, taking on the Cardinals.
We beat. Oh, yeah, we beat the Cards.
Okay, 10-5, going to Atlanta to take on the Falcons.
We beat the Falcons.
Okay, completing the sweep of the Falcons to take on in the last season against the Bucks.
We lose to the Bucks.
We lose to the Bucks. So we're going 11-6 is what you got. Is what you got there. 11-6.
That's my optimistic. Okay. That's my optimistic record right there. 11-6.
11-6.
We win the NFC South.
That is perfect. I hope I didn't ruin that with that audio for you.
No, that was great. Where did you find that?
That's gonna. We don't own any of those rights to
we
that
do
music.
Not own the rights.
We don't own the rights to the music. Don't cut us down, please. Please don't chop us down. All right. Oh man. Okay, so 11-5. You've got 11-5. No, 11-6. That was what it was. 6. I think it was 11-6. And the Saints going to the wild card round, and you've got them. You don't even know who they're playing, and they're going to win one.
No, I don't necessarily. I'm not making any predictions.
Okay.
No, we're just going to host a wild card game.
I got you. Okay, so in order, you got the Saints winning, Who's coming second?
Tampa.
Tampa?
Then Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then the bottom feeders.
Okay, and then Atlanta. Okay. I don't mean to be disrespectful in any way. I don't know if I trust the Saints yet. I don't trust Carolina. I agree with you. I think they got some injuries stacking up. Their offensive line is going to be touchy. So I think they do digress some. Atlanta is super interesting. I don't know what you're getting there. Atlanta's so weird. I think they're going to be one of those bubble teams that just kind of hangs around. I think Tampa Bay is going to win. I think New Orleans is going to come second. I think they've improved more than people say. Then give me Atlanta, Carolina in that order. I may be wrong on those last two, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking. So.
Okay. Not giving us the respect we deserve yet. That's fine. I don't blame you. I mean, it's justified. We hadn't done enough to prove it yet.
It's yes. That's all it is. That's all it is. Let's just go to the AFC South. How about that?
AFC South. Let's go.
AFC South. So you in the AFC South, for the folks that don't know, we have the Houston Texans, the Indianapolis Colts, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Tennessee Titans. Obviously, the cream of the crop last year was the Houston Texans. They're going to be coming back in. Well, Jacksonville actually won. Excuse me. Jacksonville had 13-4 record. Houston had 12-5. It's crazy to forget that Jacksonville had such a good regular season last year and then blew it in the playoffs. But Houston, the biggest thing for them is their defense. They had an outstanding defense last year. Over there, they had Danielle Hunter, who was on that side of the ball. They had Will Anderson that was helping him. Shakir, or how do you say his name? Shakir or whatever.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, Derek Stingley on the back end. Offense is going to continue to be the question mark until they can get it figured out. Nico Collins has proven to be one of the better wide receivers in the NFL. You've got Tank Dell that's coming back. But what is going to happen with CJ Stroud? Is he going to continue? It's going to look like CJ Stroud of year one, or is he going to continue to digress?
Yep. I think that's the question everybody's asking.
Yep.
If you're a Houston Texans fan. I watched a little bit of their preseason game the other day, and it was obviously the local commentators. Boy, they really were disrespecting Dalton Schultz, which I thought was crazy because I felt like he played pretty good ball for them last year.
He did okay. I think Dalton Schultz is more – he's given more praise than he deserves, for sure.
All right, well, give us your rundown on the AFC South outside of the...
Okay, AFC South after that. I'm sorry. So then you have the Indianapolis Colts that are going to be in it as well. You have Daniel Jones, who's coming off the Achilles tear. It's going to be interesting to see there. They signed Jonathan Taylor to a long-term extension. They got rid of Michael Pittman to the Steelers. So you're going to have Alec Pierce that's going to be stepping into that wide receiver one. You still have Josh Downs, who's going to be all there on the offensive side of the ball. Defensive side of the ball is where it's really going to be interesting for them as well. You still have Forrest Buckner on that side of the ball. They have that linebacker Franklin, Zaire Franklin, right? Franklin. The Colts started off 8-0 last year, wasn't it? And then they went and lost
like 7 straight,
something like that, to miss the playoffs. They got older. What do you expect from a Daniel Jones coming back from an Achilles tear? That's really hard. Anthony Richardson isn't showing any, flashes of him being the guy that they thought for whatever reason that they could get in the first round. They still have Leonard. What's his first name? Riley Leonard. They still got Riley Leonard. He played in some spots last year. Didn't show flashes of anything. Carly Ursay seems like a nice person and seems like she's trying to do some good things. I just don't know how that translates for the Colts this season. It'll be interesting. Tennessee, on the other hand, Tennessee's got one of the best defensive lines in the league that is, led by Simmons. They went and they invested a lot on the defensive side. It felt like they brought a lot of new faces in. You still got Calvin Ridley on the outside. Tony Pollard is going to be your running back number 1. Cam Ward there. What kind of next step can he take to lead this Titans offense? He did okay last year in some spots. He did pretty poor in some spots. Tennessee is one of those teams that I don't think you can put a true marker on them until you see them play. I think they invested a lot in the defensive side of the ball, and that's going to be their strength this year, and they're going to have the opportunity of it. I just don't know if Cam Ward has the guy that he can turn around and hand the ball off to 20 times a game to take the pressure off of the young quarterback that you need to, right? I just don't. Tony Pollard's continued to get older. Obviously, year after year, everybody gets older. But he wasn't the guy he was in Dallas because he wasn't the lead back in Dallas. So there's a difference there in those two. Jacksonville, is Trevor Lawrence that we think he is? What is he going to do to follow up a 13-win season? His first successful regular season that he has had in quite some time. They've been waiting for this. Was Brian Thomas going to be able to continue get back to the position that he was at one point? Excuse me, ETN, or how are you supposed to say his name now?
No, he's gone now.
Yeah, I know, but what's his right name?
Oh, I don't know.
Achan is what he says his name is. He's at the Saints. They lose him there at the running back spot. The defensive side of the ball with Josh Allen Hines, they're still going to be well there. They did lose a few guys in the linebacker corps to free agency. Excuse me, I don't know why I couldn't think of that. So Jacksonville scares me. It all rests on Trevor Lawrence's shoulders again. But I would roll. I mean, Texans would be my pick if I was going to do it. I would go Texans, Jaguars, Titans, Colts if I was picking.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with the Texans pick. And to me, as big of a question mark as CJ Stroud is, all you need is a guy that is going to manage the game. So if the first couple of games it's going poorly, I would not be surprised to see them turn to Davis Mills, who is your definition of a game manager. And you just let him take care of the offense. You might score 14 points. You're going to score 14 points, which is all you can really ask for. And then you're going to put the rest on your defense to do. And that defense I fully expect them to be just as nasty as they were last year. And I think it'll be enough to win that conference. And then outside of that, the other three teams, I mean, to your point, there is just so many question marks surrounding all three of those teams. Jacksonville would be my next pick for that division. But Indianapolis, you don't know how Daniel Jones is going to recover. Sure, they have a great running back and they have a solid defense, so I could see them being good. But again, if you can't throw the ball and you're just relying on a run game and defense, that did not win them very many games on the back half of that season last year. And then Tennessee, I think they will be much improved. I think Brian Daboll, with his only focus being on offense again, I think they will have a much improved team overall. Robert Saleh having his thumbprint on that defense. You mentioned that defensive line. I think that's going to be a very good defensive team by the end of the season, assuming that people stay healthy. And then, I could see Tennessee taking strides this year, this being making some improvements, and maybe by next year being a team that would get some more respect in this conference. And then you have Jacksonville, who, without the running game there, I'm not that worried about Jacksonville being a threat. So I think it's the Texans' division to lose. And if CJ Stroud plays poorly and they keep rolling him out there for too long, I could certainly see them losing it. But for all intensive purposes, even if he plays okay or he plays well, if he plays well, we're talking about the Texans potentially being a Super Bowl contender, because that's how good I think that defense is.
Yeah. That's hard to truly – for me, it's hard to truly say just because the two don't really match there. But
we got breaking news.
What?
Keenan Allen signs a 1-year deal with the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Colts are still fourth place for me. The Colts are still fourth place, people. We actually got breaking news on something. I tell you what, we're recording this later than we normally do too, so the likelihood of us actually getting breaking news was less and less. But I think that's the first time we've gotten breaking news while we've been doing this. So kudos to us. Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Not me. Not me. All right, where do you want to go next?
Let's go to the AFC West.
Okay, AFC West, the hardest division in football to predict, in my opinion.
Oh, hands down, but this is you want to take this one or you want me to take this one?
Go for it. You go. You need to talk more per Fox.
I watched the Raiders preseason game, and again, I know it's preseason, but they did have their ones out there on offense. And I think everybody can agree that the Raiders' biggest issues last year were surrounding their offense and their lack of production. A defense that, would do pretty good for a couple of quarters, and they would get absolutely nothing from their offense, and then everything would crumble from there.
Yep.
It was one drive, but Kirk Cousins had that offense humming. And then Fernando Mendoza came in and kept the offense humming. So I think this Raiders team is going to be very, 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 very good compared to what people think they're going to be. Now, whether they're very, very good overall is a different story, but I think everybody thinks this is a rebuild season. They'll probably be better next year. Let Fernando take over then. But I think getting the Kirk Cousins thing, I think they're in a win now mode. And I fully expect them to be better than what people are expecting. So
it's just hard when your top two receivers are Trey Tucker and Nelson Aguilar.
Trey Tucker is going to have a monster season. That's why I took him in fantasy football this year. And it wasn't because I was planning a birthday party and didn't have time to look at my picks. It was because I think he's going to be a dog.
I'm pretty sure I made that pick for you too. So
yeah, you did actually.
You're welcome. Yeah.
And then you got Kansas City, which there's all the question marks around Patrick Mahomes and how he's going to look. By everything we've seen so far, it seems like he's going to be ready for week 1, which is a good sign if you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Maybe it's not a good sign if you're worried that that's too soon. But I think the Chiefs will be back to being a dominant force. I think it's going to take them a little bit because I'm still not sold on their wide receiver group. They have talent, but until you get Patrick Mahomes back there and they all figure it out and they all click, because there's no way that's a simple offense to operate, especially from the wide receiver spot. But I think adding Kenneth Walker is going to definitely help take the load off of Patrick Mahomes. Obviously, he's not an every down back, but they had a couple of different guys that came in and played for him the other day that I'm assuming is their 2 and 3 running back, and they like to go 3 deep. And they were guys that, he had a scat back that was catching everything under the sun and taking it, 6 yards after the catch. So I think they're going to have a lot of versatility that we haven't seen in a couple of years. So I fully expect them to be a good team again. You have the Broncos, who, everybody I think expects to be the division leader again because they brought everybody back. They added weapons on the outside, and I can't remember. Who did they add at wide receiver? Because it was somebody important.
Oh, Jalen Waddle.
There we go. I think that's going to be a difference maker for him, getting a guy that can stretch the field. You got Cortland Sutton still there. The running back spot, I'm not completely sold on. I think you're more sold on it because you're an RJ Harvey believer. And I think a lot of people share that. Yeah, I mean, I think I told you to make that pick that year that you took him.
I don't believe that.
I think that happened. But I think there's people that share that same sentiment, that he has the potential to be an RB1 and he has the potential to sustain a ground game for the Broncos. And then you have their defense and you have Sean Payton with all the experience that he brings. And for all intents and purposes, this should be a good football team.
Yeah,
that defense was lights out.
The one thing I want to say about the Broncos quickly was they won a lot of close single possession games last year. We always talk about that. It's very unlikely that it happens 2 years in a row.
I think the biggest issue with the Broncos for me is I'm still not sold on Bo Nix.
I agree, 100%.
I'm not sold on Bo Nix. I think I think he shows flashes of being able to take this team far, but he also shows flashes of being able to hold this team back. So, depending on what play you get out of him, I think is going to be the biggest variable in how their outcome plays out. And then you got the Chargers. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to spoil it. The Chargers are my pick to win this division. Mike McDaniel being the offensive coordinator, I think, is going to be the thing that puts this team finally over the hump. I think his creativity with the weapons that they have, I think this Chargers team is finally in a spot where they're going to be too much. Now, obviously that really rides on health and everything else, but if that offense is dangerous, which I think Mike McDaniel will scheme up everything to make them very dangerous. When you have a talent like Justin Herbert and you take all of the thinking out of it and you make it easy for him to operate, that is scary. And I think that's the team to beat in that division. I think they win that division. My next pick would be, I'm going to say the Chiefs just based on history, and then the Broncos, and then the Raiders. But I feel like this could be one of those divisions where you might get all four of those teams in the playoffs somehow.
It's not impossible.
I certainly think they are arguably the best division in the NFL today.
Yeah, I agree. I don't trust the Chiefs receivers, but I have no reason to not trust Mahomes. So I know I was proven otherwise last year, but I don't think the Broncos can do it again. So until I can see the Chargers consistently beat the Chiefs, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to be the winner. Yeah, Mahomes is coming off that pretty nasty injury. Kelsey is a year older. What do you get out of Rice? I don't know. Can Xavier Worthy truly catch the ball outside of just run really fast down the field? I worry about the defensive side of the ball too. Trent McDuffie, yes, I know he wasn't playing that well, but you're still giving up an all-pro cornerback. Chris Jones is still on that defense. Maybe I'm crazy for picking Kansas City. Maybe I should rethink that a little bit here. But Denver, for whatever reason, I feel like maybe it's Knicks that I think is going to take a step back just a little bit. I don't trust the Chargers at all. I don't trust Justin Herbert. I'm not one of these guys that just continues to, just believe Justin Herbert can do everything, because he can't, obviously. He struggles at it mightily. And then the Raiders, I have no idea what I'm getting with the Raiders. I don't trust the Raiders. I'm a big Kirk Cousins fan. That's Kirk O'Bangs is one of my guys for sure. I would love to see him succeed. But with Trey Tucker and Nelson Aguilar at your wide receiver positions, I don't know. Their defense, they got way better on defense for sure. Keeping Max Crosby was a huge deal. They signed that linebacker from the Eagles, Nolan. I forget his last name.
Nakobe Dean?
Nakobe Dean, yeah. I don't know why I'm thinking Nolan here. But Nakobe Dean, sorry. Yeah. But they went out and got some guys. They're going to be helpful. And I don't know. It feels weird now that I say that I picked the Chiefs out loud. Saying it out loud, it feels weird. It's just one of those things that's like, maybe you shouldn't do this. But I don't know what else to do. I don't know. Screw it. Give me the Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and then the Raiders. Screw it. Jalen Waddle is going to be an all-pro receiver this year, and you're going to help me in my fantasy team.
Okay.
So, there we go.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, let's go to the second hardest division in the NFL.
I don't know what you're going to say.
The NFC West.
Okay, I don't know what you're going to say. Wow.
No, you didn't. Take it back.
I thought you were going to say some other shit.
No. Well, you got the defending Super Bowl champions in the Seattle Seahawks that are going to try to reclaim that prize by not adding a lot of pieces, which normally is not what you see at a team trying to continue to get better, especially when you have a team in your division like the Rams, who went out and added the formerly mentioned all-pro cornerback Trent Duffy from the Kansas City Chiefs. and then the all-pro, all-world, all-galaxy, universe, whatever you want to say, player in Myles Garrett, who is bringing his 121 and a half sacks to the Los Angeles Rams to continue to just tear up defenses. He's even got Aaron Donald talking about coming out of retirement. He's had multiple tryouts. Not that Aaron Donald, he could go try out for any team in the NFL and make the roster if he wanted to. So if he comes back, what does that look like? That's going to be a formidable front up front, right there in the trenches. Just Myles Garrett alone is a huge addition for that Rams defense. Offensively, obviously, Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, getting older, reigning MVP, and Matthew Stafford. You got a two-headed running back now back there with Kyron Williams, who is a 1,000-yard running back himself, but Blake Corum really came on last year as well. The Rams are stacked. Sean McVay, all that kind of stuff. You got Seattle, like we talked about. Coach McDonald up there. What does Sam Darnold look like in this second year, fully in the offense after winning the Super Bowl? JSN out there. Still a little, what do you have within the trenches on both sides of the ball? What are you going to do? They did lose that cornerback to the Philadelphia Eagles, right? What was Wilson? No, not Wilson. Sorry.
Woolen.
Woolen, there you go. Yeah. So they've got some things to pick up there. San Francisco continues to have the injury bug bite them in the rear, but they're still probably going to be good. Added Mike Evans. Bigger red zone threat than anything for them right now at this stage in his career. Defensively, they're going to get much healthier than they were last year as well. Fred Warner coming back. I don't know if Nick Bosa is going to be quite ready to come back.
Doesn't look like it right now.
But the Niners are always tough. And then you got the Cardinals that are just kind of down there at the bottom that are trying to figure it out. I saw something that Carson Beck told the Cardinals that he wants to be starting sooner than later for them. I don't know if that's a true report or not. I have no idea. They got Jeremiah Love back there. They've got, they got Trey McBride. They've got some good pieces they got to figure out. But for me, it's Rams, Seahawks, Niners, Cardinals in that order.
I don't hate it. I don't disagree with it. I mean, your Seahawks and the second one is the only thing I might debate a little bit, but they're the defending Super Bowl champs. They did lose some pieces. I don't love that they don't have a running back, because I think what I've seen from Sam Darnold, and when he's been successful, he's had a running game to rely on.
Yep. And
you have a rookie running back that you drafted, and then you've got George Halani. So until Zach Charbonnet comes back from that torn ACL, which, you tore it very, very late in the season, so I don't think it's going to be any time before week 6. I just don't know that that's going to be enough. I don't think they did enough in the offseason to just say, okay, here we go, we're going to run it back. And to your point, the Rams added so much, so the Rams are the clear-cut pick for me. I kind of like San Francisco next and then Seattle, but I can totally see your justification where you have Seattle. The Niners added some pieces. You had Mike Evans. You have Deebo Samuel back. At some point, you'll get George Kittle back. You've got Fred.
Retirement pieces. Sorry, never mind.
No, that's the only thing that keeps me from just jumping on the table, screaming San Francisco number 2 is that, yes, they did add some pieces, but boy, it's getting long in the tooth.
Yes, it is.
But yeah, Arizona's going to for sure finish dead last in this division.
You talked about George Kittle too. He's recovering from Achilles tear as well in the postseason, right?
Yeah.
So, what's that road to recovery look like for him? It's going to be a tall task to get back early in the season and be the same player that he was.
Right.
Is a very tall task. So, and it worrisomes about the Niners about putting that much more on McCaffrey, and he's not getting any younger either. And he's had a lot of touches and carries over this past couple of years.
If they give Deebo a couple of Popeyes biscuits, he could play tight end for him.
He 100%. He's about there already. He doesn't even need them biscuits. Oh, Chingal. Okay. Who do you want next?
Oh, Let's go to your division. Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
All right, so the NFC East. I'll let you go first. You want to talk?
Okay, the NFC East. This is a very interesting division to me because to me, when I look at it at face value, there is no clear-cut winner. I'm just going to proceed with that. I'm sure that you have a very, very different sentiment, but I'm not saying that in a negative way. I think there's 3 teams. Really, there's 2 teams, and then there's 2 teams that could go either way. I'll start with Philadelphia, who obviously had a lackluster season last year.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of turmoil. They got rid of A.J. Brown, so you assume that the turmoil has left the locker room. It'll be kumbaya, and their defense will be good again. Their offense will be improved. They got rid of that offensive coordinator that they had, and I don't remember for the life of me who they promoted to that position. But for all intents and purposes, the Eagles should be a good football team again. And not that they were a bad team last year. It just wasn't. It was pretty clear that they weren't going to be a playoff team. They weren't going to be a competitive team, but they were going to be a good enough team.
Yeah.
So that's Philadelphia in a nutshell. You don't know what you're going to get from Jalen Hurts. You don't know if the offense is going to be so much improved. I think the biggest question mark on this team for me is wide receiver. I know they believe in Devontae Smith to carry the load that A.J. Brown left behind. They got a couple of rookie receivers in to help with that, but I don't think Devontae Smith, just being totally honest, I don't think he's enough to fill the shoes of his own and A.J. Brown. So that's my only concern with that team. Then you got the Cowboys, who I don't think they could get any worse defensively than what they were last year. So their only way is up. I think that was obviously the biggest driver for their lack of success last year. The offense was humming. You got George Pickens back. You got CD back. You've got Dak back. You've got – who do y'all have at running back this year? Y'all picked up a running back also, didn't y'all?
We got Javonte Williams, Jaden Blue, Phil Maffa. Who you want? Malik Davis.
We'll go with Javonte because that's the only one that registers.
Yeah, returning 1,000-yard rusher, yes. Mm-hmm.
So, and then assuming that your offensive line is back and healthy, you got some pieces there also. You've got a tight end that can add to the receiving core for them and also block. So I don't have any concerns about the offense. It's just about what that defense is going to do. And obviously they've made a full overhaul of that defense, which if you're a Cowboys fan, I'm sure you're convinced that there's no way this isn't going to be great. You've got Caleb Downs. My biggest concern with it is you have a new defensive coordinator and a bunch of new pieces. How long is it going to take for it to just all come together? Because in this particular division, you don't have a lot of time for it to just, you can't wait 8 weeks for it to finally come together. I think that's what we learned last year with this Cowboys team.
It's already there.
Okay, well, I hope you're not basing that on one preseason game and some clips from training camp. But if you're a Cowboys fan, I'm not saying you're dead in the water. I'm just saying, depending on how long it takes, you could be.
I named my son Dallas Cowboy just so he can know. And I just hope he knows what the meaning of that is. The other kids may make fun of him, but I say, your name means something, mijo.
Oh, God. And then we get to the New York Football Giants. New coach, some returning pieces in Jackson Dart, Cam Scatterbo. You've got Malik Neighbors, who's coming back from injury as well. You added a veteran, and Odell Beckham Jr. There's a lot going on in New York. I think it's all for the better. I think they were on the up and up before injuries struck them last year. I fully expect this to be a competitive team this year. It's not going to be a bad football team. I think it'll be a competitive football team. This is one of the teams that it could go great and it could go okay. And I want to say it's going to go great just because I like Coach Harbaugh. I like Jackson Dart. I like what the Giants have done. But I'm not completely sold. Ask me again after week 4. The Commanders, I think this is the team that's going to finish in dead last in this division. I'm not a big Jaden Daniels believer. I think it's RG3 reincarnated. I think this is going to be a bad football team. I think this is the last year we have Dan Quinn as a head coach. And I think he goes and turns a poor defensive team into a juggernaut next year. But I think this is going to be another bad season for the Commanders. I wish them well, but also they're going to be bad, I think.
Yeah.
So
Dan
with that
Quinn
all
should've-
being said, go ahead.
I was just going to say Dan Quinn should have won that Super Bowl when he had the chance.
He absolutely should have. I mean, he had it wrapped up.
Yeah.
He fumbled the bag. When I look at it from a bird's eye view, I'm going to say Philadelphia wins the division. Dallas comes in second. New York third. Washington dead last. And I think Philadelphia and Dallas both find a way to make the playoffs.
Okay. I respect that. I think our bottom two I know our bottom two are the exact same. Washington, I think they are going to continue to move backwards. They were a 5-win team this year. I don't know if there's much to improve on it. Obviously, having Jaden Daniels back is going to be a good thing for you versus what you had to deal with last season. If he can get away from, can I say the number, or am I going to get in trouble? Should we not say his number out of respect?
I've seen so many great memes from that. People with three toes saying out of respect.
Out of respect. No, Jay Daniels is going to be good. Really, you've got Terry McLaurin still there. They've got some issues on the defensive side of the ball. Sonny Styles looked pretty bad in his first preseason game. It's one preseason game, but that's tough. The Giants, I think they're just too young. Getting the Harbaugh system, have to learn some things around. Malik Neighbors is still recovering from that ACL tear. They went out and got Odell Beckham Jr. to be their wide receiver number 2. What it looks like it. They could probably still have Darius Slayton or somebody as number 2. So on the defensive side of the ball, they have everything on paper that you could want. They got 4 first-round draft picks over there. Brian Burns, Arvell Reese. You've got
Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter and that.
Oh, Thibodeau.
There you go. They're all sitting there waiting to go. Doesn't scare me that much. It really doesn't. It could change, but Jackson Dart, there's a lot to learn from him still. Cam Scatterbo's your lead back, running back. He's played pretty hard at some times. It'll be interesting to see. So, Commanders 4, Giants 3, Eagles 2 for my pick. They've got, Jalen Carter down there in the middle. He signed that long-term contract. The defense is still going to be okay. The offense is where you're going to look at it and say, okay, what can they really do? Obviously, if they remember to just continue to give the ball to Saquon, really good things will happen. Losing A.J. Brown, while he was a locker room distraction on the field, that is a big hole that is not going to be easily replaced. So that's why I have them number 2. It'll be interesting to see what the Eagles have to bring and if they can make it back. At number 1, Cowboys. Yes, I've got the Cowboys there. That's because 1, biased. 2, because you can get mad at me for saying it. And 3, because I want to. But they went out there and they did. Christian Parker coming over from the Eagles, huge addition on the defensive side of the ball. It seems like the guys really like him and want to be a part of what he's got going on. It seems like there's a whole mentality of a culture shift in Dallas, too. The players are wanting to stay later on their own accord and run sprints and do that kind of stuff. So those are good things that you want to see, right? Now, I think what they've gone out and done defensively, getting Quinnen Williams with the pick last year, you got Kenny Clark that you got to go out and sign Rashawn Gary. You've got D. Winters that comes over as well. You've got Kobe Durant that you were able to get over here. PJ Locke is going to help out a ton. I think if you look at the defensive side of the ball, you obviously had to have a mass exodus when you were last in almost every major category in the last, ranked defense overall. So you're necessarily, everybody keeps saying that we're just looking for this defense to be 15 to 20, somewhere in there, just to give them an opportunity. I think the defense, just from listening to some of the interviews that I have, things, they're taking it kind of offensive. Now you add Von Miller to that, he's going to be able to play, 15, 20 snaps a game, maybe. But in those snaps, he's going to be very impactful. He had 9 sacks last year with the Commanders. He started in 3 games, played in all 17 games, and those sacks were spread out. They weren't just like one game. He got 5 of them or whatever. They were spread out. He was making plays in and out every week. So obviously bringing on Von Miller on is a big thing, not only for that on the field, but I think in the locker room as well. I think they've done a good job. They've got 11 guys that are kind of the leaders of that. And Schottenheimer has talked about this a little bit, just about, it used to always have to be Dak. Just Dak by himself, we'll do this, we're going to do that by himself. Now, you've got a committee of like 11 guys and they're all leading and wanting to be better. So big locker room guy. I had a comment. I talked about it on Facebook, and this old boy commented. Let me see if I can find it here and tell you exactly what he told me. But his name is Dennis Jones. Dennis Jones said, well, did he pay for a teacher? Did he pay for the players? He's 37 years old, and if you followed him, he's not near what he once was. Most people aren't, so it depends on what they had to give, right? And I kindly responded, and we went back and forth for a second, basically just, they only given him $5.5 million, which is cheap in the NFL standards. He had 9 sacks last year. So even if Von Miller comes in and gives you half of that, I would say it was a successful, signing there. So big. Jashawn Barham, out of Michigan. Looks like we actually got a Michigan guy that can play some defense. He's playing in that weak linebacker spot, or the right linebacker spot, getting some reps there. He's getting down on the edge. He's getting out in space, and he's been doing some really good things. So interior-wise, this Dallas team is really tough to beat with Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark there. So I didn't even talk about the secondary. Kind of scared to talk about them. But you got Caleb Downs back there, so we'll see what happens. Obviously, offense, everything. Dak Prescott, Javonte Williams, CD, Pickens, Ryan Flournoy, Ferguson, all those guys. The offensive line has gelled a lot better. They've gotten settled into what they want to do. So I think the offensive line is going to be very improved as far as the pass game goes and the run game. But I try not to get too far ahead of myself. I think there's a lot of really, really good things that are happening on the field that I hear. Von Miller was a good hire, a good signing. A lot of people were against it, saying it was terrible. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? But I think for the locker room and having these guys understand what it takes to win is a huge deal. Because if you look back at who we had when it was like Micah and all those guys, DeMarcus Lawrence wasn't much of a leader. And that I saw, at least, maybe I'm wrong. DeMarcus, if you're listening, I apologize. Micah definitely wasn't a leader. He was all for himself. But having Vaughn around there and just showing the guys the right way to approach a game or the right way to win the game or anything like that, I think is a huge deal. So Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Commanders. Yeah. I didn't even talk about the offensive side, did I? I did talk about the offensive side. Yeah, so Gotti.
I think I agree. The Cowboys got better the moment they let Kenneth Murray walk out of the locker room. They already went up like 3 spots just from that.
Yep. That was huge. Yeah, Kenneth Murray was terrible. I could play defense better than Kenneth Murray. Kenneth Murray was trash. That was garbage. Hot garbage.
That's an Oklahoma boy.
I don't give a damn. I ain't that close to Oklahoma. It's just this year. Give a damn about Oklahoma as a whole.
Oh, jeez. Come on, man. Have some respect for your Oklahoma guys.
No, sir. Those are
your boys.
No. AFC East, now that we're here.
AFC East. All right.
This one's going to be easy. Bills are number 1. Josh Allen looked good in the first preseason. I worry about their defense. I do. But Allen's going to play at an MVP level year in and year out. They got DJ Moore, They got DJ Moore. You still got Coleman out there making plays. James Cook is a really good running back. The offensive line is going to take them and let them score where they need to. So Buffalo's number one. Excuse me. Followed by the Patriots. Not much to say. The Jets and then the Dolphins. The Dolphins are in a rebuild mode. So,
I just don't know about. I don't know about Buffalo being number one, and I think the Patriots are going to be good again. I think they're going to be a competitive team. I'm going to say the Bills. I think the Bills make the most of this season. So I'll go Bills number one, Patriots number two, and who gives a rat's ass about the other two?
AFC North.
AFC North. This one's an interesting division. Outside of the Browns, I think the Browns are going to finish in dead last again. But you got the Steelers bringing back Aaron Rodgers, Mike McCarthy at the helm. All reports coming out of their training camp is that this is a new, refreshing team. They added, so you had DK still. They added Michael Pittman Jr. from the Colts, who is a hell of a wide receiver, a play hard guy, a guy that will, just a football guy. You've got a lot there defensively still. Cam Hayward is very old now, but he's still a dog. You got TJ Watt, who, plays at a very high level all the time. That's just an aged team. That's the only thing I see whenever I look at that team. It's an old team, so it'll be interesting to see how it plays out over the course of a season, especially in a division that plays in cold weather, a division that plays a very brute style of football. So just a lot that goes against you if you're an older team.
Yep.
Just in that division alone. And then you have the Ravens, who new head coach, pretty much everything the same. Otherwise, I don't love that they didn't really do anything great at wide receiver to help bolster that any. You drafted a couple of rookies. I don't know that that's going to be enough to change my opinion of them. You have Lamar Jackson, who you hope comes back and has another MVP season. But I just don't know what you're going to get from this Ravens team. I don't know if bringing in a new head coach was going to be the answer for this year. Maybe next year, maybe the year down the line, but I'm not sold on this year. Then you get to the Bengals with Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. Assuming that everybody stays healthy, I think the Bengals are my pick for number one in this division. And that's solely based on health and if this offensive line has improved at all. They had their ones play in that first preseason game, and Joe Burrow already got sacked in that small time span. But I like to think they get these kinks out of the way and they have a solid offensive line, and Joe Burrow plays at an MVP level. I think the Bengals win that division, and then I'm going to go Steelers, Ravens, and then the Browns.
Okay. Yeah, with Cincinnati, it's interesting because the biggest thing is keeping Joe Burrow healthy. There's so much rides on him. They went out and got Dexter Lawrence from the Giants to add to that defensive line of the ball. And they went out and signed a bunch of guys to just completely revamp what they had going on the defensive side of the ball. So they're going to be interesting. The Ravens didn't do a ton in the offseason. Signed Zay Flowers to a long extension. Interesting to see what the Ravens have to do there. The Browns are, it looked like they made some decent moves when they got rid of Myles Garrett. They brought in Jared Verse. They still got some picks. They were moving a little differently. You got three quarterbacks that just, oh man, they're tough. They're tough to watch. At least Deshaun Watson he's been there and done that. But Shador, Dylan Gabriel, there's going to be, some discussions about that quarterback room and do they keep three or do they only keep two when it comes down to 54-man roster cuts. I don't know what they do. The Browns are tough. So the Steelers, I agree with everything with them being old. Feels hard to trust them. I'm going to take the Bengals too. Nonetheless, if their offense is just healthy and they're flying, just high power, that alone shows you that they can win a couple games. So if they get a defense that is just mediocre, it'll be okay. Give me the Ravens, Steelers, Browns after that. Yeah. So
I don't disagree with it. I was on the fence with the number 2 team.
Yeah.
Who do we got left? Is that everybody?
we've got the NFC North, is it?
Oh,
Minnesota,
Minnesota.
Chicago, Detroit, and Green Bay. Minnesota's not going to be as good as we think they are. I don't think Kyler Murray's going to fan out very well. By the time they figure that out and go to J.J. McCarthy, he's not going to pan out very well. Their defense, they have a good defense, but we'll see. They don't have a running game. I can tell you that. They still got Aaron Jones over there trying to run the football, so that's something. The Bears, there's always talk about regression, and what happens in Ben Johnson's second season. That'll be interesting. The Lions, they seem like they're going through a little flux of their own, too. They've lost some players that they weren't able to keep, and they're kind of going up and down. And then you got the Packers that you're going to be playing most of the season without Michael Parsons on the defensive side of the ball. It'll be interesting to see what they can do with Josh Jacobs. I don't know. I don't know if I trust Jordan Love either. They got some good receivers. Not having Michael Parsons for most of the season is going to hurt them. You lose Rashawn Gary to the Cowboys. What's that cornerback? They lost that cornerback too. He went to the Ravens as well. So I don't know. I don't know what to think about Detroit. I don't know who I pick. I don't think I trust Caleb Williams. I don't know who I'd pick in this division, to be honest with you. I guess the Packers probably, if I had to pick one.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Packers to me are the team that I don't trust at all. I like the Bears to win this division. I don't see them going backwards. I think Caleb Williams with another year in Ben Johnson's offense. You saw some great improvements towards the end of last season. I mean, they made the playoffs. I've got no reason to believe that they won't come back and win this division, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to go Bears. I think the Vikings are going to be better than what you're thinking. I think Kyler Murray is going to – I think that Kevin O'Connell offense is just one where a quarterback can strive as long as he can understand the offense. So that'll be huge. But I'm going to go Bears, Vikings, Lions, and I'm going to finish the Packers at last because I really don't trust that Packers team. I've got no reason to believe in that Packers team.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to switch it to the Lions. The Vikings are finishing last. And then you can take or give the Bears or the Packers. But Lions, Bears, Packers, Vikings. That's how I'm going to go. That's what I'm going to do. So, boom. That's everybody. That's all four of them. We picked them all. Who's your MVP this year?
Joe Burrow.
Dak Prescott.
God. I hate it.
Dak Prescott. Dallas Cowboys.
Outside of just not liking the Cowboys, for your personal health, I hope they aren't good. And I hope it's apparent to you right away so that you don't allow yourself to get to that point where you start to believe and then completely implode after that.
We're going to be good. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay.
I don't know what to tell you. It'll be all right.
What if y'all come out and lose to the Giants week 1? Is that gonna sway you in any way?
No.
Okay.
Can't win every game. Well, you can, but most don't. So, yeah.
Next episode, we're gonna have to do the rapid fire thing where you go through the Cowboys schedule.
Yeah, no, we are. Vaughn's gonna go over there and he's gonna tell everybody, Quentin, CD, boys, get you one of these, okay?
Where did you get that from? What is that?
Can you touch that?
What is that? Is that a fake Dallas Cowboys Super Bowl ring?
No, it's a real one.
Where did you steal that from?
Can you touch that? My light's too bright. You can't see it that well. It'll be on display.
I hate so much about what's happening right now.
Oh, jeez. All right. We've gone a while here. You good?
I'm good.
I'm good too. Guys, we greatly appreciate you joining us here. We'll be back. We'll be back with more. We always are. We'll continue to do some rankings. We're just going to get closer and closer to the season. We still got local spotlights we got to do. We'll definitely get those out and get them to you. We appreciate the support there. But you good, Emilio?
I'm all good.
I'm good too. Guys, we appreciate you. This has been another episode of In-Laws and Out of Bounds. Remember, Jesus is the light. He's the way. Follow him if you need him. Well, not if you need him. You do need him. But anyway, so we appreciate you guys. We all do. So football's back. We're excited. All right, guys. We'll catch you on the flip. See ya. Peace.